Rain slammed against the cracked asphalt outside the Sunset Spoon Diner. Neon lights buzzed weakly against the storm, flickering over a soaked woman standing in the middle of the parking lot. Lena Morris clutched a wrinkled piece of paper in one trembling hand. A termination notice. Her apron, still tied around her waist, was stained with coffee and tears. A silver sedan idled in front of her. Behind the tinted window sat a man, calm, unreadable. "You think I did this for money?" Lena shouted over the thunder. "I just wanted to help." The engine roared, tires spinning water as the car pulled away. Her reflection warped in the puddles, a woman broken by decency. The rain drowned out her sob. And that's where it all began. Before we begin, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? United States, Canada, UK, Australia, Jamaica, or 3 weeks earlier, Clearwater, Florida. The kind of small coastal city where everyone pretends to be doing better than they are. Palms bent in the morning breeze, and gulls hovered above beach traffic as Lena Morris wiped the diner windows, her reflection pale and tired. At 32, Lena wasn't where she thought she'd be. Her ex-husband had left 5 years ago, couldn't handle the pressure, and since then, life had been an assembly line of survival. Wake up, pack her son Toby's lunch, hustle double shifts, collapse. Repeat. She lived in a one-bedroom apartment near Drew Street, with peeling paint and a view of the laundromat parking lot. But she never complained. Toby, 8 years old and sunshine in human form, gave her reason to keep trying. Each morning, before school, she slipped a sticky note into his lunchbox. "Be kind, even when it's hard." She didn't know those 6 words would one day rewrite her future. The diner opened at 6 sharp. The Sunset Spoon, a local spot famous for its pancakes and gossip, was already humming. Coffee hissed. Bacon popped. Retirees grumbled about gas prices. Lena moved between tables with practiced grace, her smile automatic. "Morning, sweethearts. You want your usual?" she asked, pouring coffee for the Anderson couple, who'd been married longer than she'd been alive. "Bless you, Lena," Mrs. Anderson said. "You're always so cheerful." She wasn't, but she knew how to fake it. Around 9 a.m., the bell over the door jingled. A man stepped inside, tall, mid-30s, wearing a gray hoodie that looked 2 sizes too big. His jeans were worn, shoes scuffed. He carried nothing but a folded newspaper. He sat alone at a corner booth and stared at the menu. When Lena approached, he looked up, uncertain. "Morning," she said with a smile. "Coffee to start?" He hesitated. "Just water, please." Something about his voice, soft, deliberate, made her pause. His eyes were sharp, intelligent, but tired, as if he hadn't slept right in days. She filled his glass and noticed his hands trembled slightly. A few minutes later, she returned. "Ready to order?" He shook his head. "I might just sit a while." The lunch rush was picking up, but Lena couldn't ignore the way he kept glancing toward the kitchen, embarrassed, hungry. Finally, she leaned closer. "You look like you haven't eaten in a bit. Be honest, are you good?" He smiled weakly. "I'll be fine. Just between things." That was enough for her. Without thinking, she scribbled an order, number 7 pancake special, add bacon, and paid for it herself at the register. When she brought the plate to his table, his eyes widened. "I didn't order this." "I know," she said. "Consider it a Florida welcome breakfast." For a long moment, he just stared at her. Then quietly, "Thank you." She shrugged it off and walked away, pretending not to notice the way he inhaled the food like someone starved not just for food, but for kindness. At the counter, her manager, Sharon Wilkes, was watching, a woman in her 50s with a tight bun and tighter temper. Sharon had managed diners since the 90s and lived by one rule: no freebies. Ever, Lena, Sharon said, voice sharp as glass. You comp that meal? It's fine. I'll pay for it out of my tips. That's not the point. It's about policy. Lena forced a smile. Policy doesn't feed people. Sharon sighed. You're a good girl, but this isn't charity work. You want to help folks. Volunteer at church. Lena bit her tongue. Later that night, after the rush, Sharon cornered her near the mop sink. Corporate's been on us about losses. Next time you give away food, you'll be out. Clear? Crystal, Lena said, though her heart was heavy. At home, Toby was building a Lego rocket on the floor when she walked in. Hey, Mom! Did you know astronauts eat pizza in space? She smiled faintly. No kidding. When she told him about the man at the diner, he frowned. Did he say thank you? He did. Then you did the right thing. She kissed his forehead. Even if I get in trouble? Even if, Toby said solemnly. They ate dinner. Macaroni and cheese again. As rain tapped softly against the window, Lena stared at her bills spread across the counter and whispered, one good deed won't kill me. Outside, lightning flickered over the gulf. Somewhere out there, the man she'd helped sat in a motel room, scrolling through articles on his phone about his own company's employees and the woman who'd fed him without asking for anything. Ever watched someone do good knowing it might cost them? The world doesn't clap for quiet kindness. It just moves on. But maybe it shouldn't. If you've ever believed that doing the right thing still matters in this country, stay, because this story's about to test that belief. The next morning, Florida's sunshine mocked Lena's exhaustion. The air was heavy with the smell of sea salt and gasoline as she drove Toby to school. She hid her anxiety behind a smile and a travel mug of cheap coffee. At the drop-off lane, Toby looked at her through the passenger window. Did your boss say anything about the breakfast? Lena forced a grin. Nothing worth remembering. But she lied. Sharon's words had looped in her head all night. When she arrived at the Sunset Spoon, the smell of frying eggs couldn't mask the tension waiting behind the counter. Sharon stood by the register with a clipboard. Her lips were pursed so tightly they seemed drawn with a ruler. Morning, Sharon. Office. Now, inside the cramped back room, a stack of invoices sat beside a coffee-stained keyboard. Sharon didn't sit. She simply held up a printout from corporate. You remember that ticket you comped? Lena nodded slowly. They flagged it in the system. No payment recorded. They think you manipulated the register. What? I told you I paid for it myself. Sharon crossed her arms. Policy doesn't care about intention. It cares about numbers. I tried to tell them, but they've decided to let you go. I'm sorry. Lena's throat tightened. You're firing me? For feeding a man? For breaking the rules, Sharon said flatly. She left the diner carrying a cardboard box with her apron and half a jar of tip money. The bell above the door jingled behind her, the same cheerful sound that had greeted her every morning, now cruelly indifferent. Outside, Clearwater's midday heat pressed against her like a punishment. She sat in her car for a long time, listening to the steady tick of the cooling engine. Tears blurred her reflection in the rearview mirror. Her phone buzzed. A text from her landlord. Rent reminder, 3 days left. She closed her eyes, whispering, not now, please. That night, she reheated leftover mac and cheese. Toby noticed her red eyes immediately. Mom, did something bad happen? She hesitated. Just grown-up stuff. Honey. He studied her face, with the uncanny wisdom only children have. You lost your job, didn't you? Her silence confirmed it. He crawled into her lap and wrapped his arms around her. It's okay, he said softly. You always find a way. She held him tightly. His small heartbeat pressed against hers. And prayed he was right. The next few days blurred into survival mode. Lena woke before sunrise to clean vacation condos along the Clearwater beach strip, scrubbing sand from tile floors, folding towels into swans for tourists who'd never know her name. In the afternoons, she walked through strip malls with printed resumes, applying for cashier jobs, receptionist jobs, anything. Sorry, we're not hiring right now. We'll keep your application on file. Every note chipped away at her confidence until all that was left was quiet resignation. One afternoon, while stopping for gas, she noticed a figure by the convenience store dumpster, a man rummaging through a plastic bag. Her chest tightened. It was him, the stranger from the diner, the one she'd fed. He looked thinner, paler, but those same intelligent eyes flicked up when she approached. You again, he said, almost embarrassed. She smiled sadly. Guess I have a bad habit of finding you. He chuckled under his breath. You shouldn't waste kindness on someone who can't pay you back. Maybe kindness isn't supposed to be paid back, she said. Maybe it's supposed to be passed on. For a moment, he just stared at her, like her words carried a truth he'd forgotten. Existed. She reached into her wallet and handed him the last $5 bill she had. Here, get a sandwich or something. I can't take that. You can, she said firmly, and you will. As she walked back to her car, she didn't see him watching her leave, didn't see him pull out a sleek black phone from his pocket, dialing a number. It's me, he said quietly. I found her again. That night, rain returned, Florida's restless kind, sudden and heavy. Lena sat on her couch, job listings glowing on her cracked phone screen. The apartment hummed with silence. She whispered, "Why do I keep getting punished for being good?" Her reflection in the window offered no answer, just the faint glow of lightning over the Gulf. 2 mornings later, she received a call. The number was blocked. Double quotes, Ms. Morris? A calm male voice asked. This is Coal Industries Human Resources. We saw your recent application for a janitorial position. Can you come in for an interview tomorrow? She blinked. Of course. Yes, I'll be there. After she hung up, she looked toward Toby's school photo pinned on the fridge. Maybe, she said softly, the storm's about to break. But she couldn't shake the feeling that something, or someone, was watching her story unfold from the other side of the glass. You ever notice how this country seems to punish the people who still believe in good? We see it every day. The kind ones, the honest ones, the ones who've been just to help. If you've ever been that person, the one who gives and gets burned, stay. Because sometimes the right story reminds us we're not alone. Warning lights spilled across downtown Clearwater, glinting off the glass tower of Coal Industries. The building stood like a mirror reflecting the Gulf sky, unreachable to most people who passed beneath it. Lena Morris never imagined she'd step inside. She'd polished her shoes, ironed her thrift store blouse, and borrowed a blazer from her neighbor, who swore it looked professional enough. She whispered a quiet prayer before pushing through the revolving door. The lobby was marble and silence. A receptionist with perfect posture glanced up. Interview for the janitorial position? Yes, ma'am. Lena sat, clutching her purse like a life raft, unaware that several floors above, Nathan Cole was watching her through a security feed. He hadn't stopped thinking about her since the diner. That single act, one plate of pancakes, had changed something in him. He had grown up in Florida's foster system, clawed his way into business, and built an empire. But wealth had isolated him, turned kindness into currency. Lena's simple decency had cracked through that shell. Now, disguised as a maintenance staff candidate, she had unknowingly walked into his world. The interview was brief. The HR manager, polite but distracted, asked about her experience. Mostly cleaning and service jobs, Lena said. Any supervisory experience? Just managing to pay bills on time. She joked softly. The manager smiled despite himself. You're honest. That's rare. An hour later, Lena was hired on a trial basis. She'd start that evening cleaning the executive floors after hours. That night, she stood in a hallway that smelled faintly of lemon polish and new carpet. Her reflection gleamed in the glass walls. As she vacuumed near the elevator, the doors opened, and she froze. The man stepping out wasn't wearing a hoodie this time. A tailored navy suit, fresh haircut, the same sharp eyes, the stranger from the diner. For a long second, they just stared at each other. He smiled, a knowing glint in his gaze. You missed a spot. Her heart stumbled. It's you, she breathed. It's me, he said softly, though I suppose introductions are overdue. He extended his hand. Nathan Cole, she didn't take it. You're that Nathan Cole? The one who owns this place? Guilty. Her pulse thundered. Was this some kind of joke? Some social experiment? Not exactly, he said. I needed to see how people treated others when they thought no one was watching. You passed that test. I didn't know there was a test. That's why you passed. Lena stared at him, anger flickering behind her shock. You let me get fired. I didn't know until after. He admitted. By the time I checked, you were already gone. That's when I started looking for you. She shook her head. You don't get to just show up in a suit and fix everything with words. I don't intend to fix anything, he said quietly. But I can offer something better than an apology. He gestured toward his office door. Please. 5 minutes. She hesitated, then followed. The view from his corner window was breathtaking. Clearwater skyline fading into turquoise ocean. Nathan poured two coffees and sat across from her. I want to create a new outreach division for Cole Industries. Something real, not just PR. You'd be perfect to lead it. She laughed bitterly. I'm a waitress. Mr. Cole, you have college grads lining up for jobs like that. Exactly. People who've never lived paycheck to paycheck can't fix problems they've never felt. You can. His sincerity disarmed her. Still, she shook her head. I don't want your pity. It's not pity, he said. It's perspective. Over the next week, Nathan kept reaching out. Emails, calls, invitations to meetings. Lena tried to resist, but curiosity and need tugged at her. Finally, she accepted a position as community coordinator. Her salary tripled what she'd made at the diner. She worked hard, learning quickly, surprising executives with her empathy and grit. Nathan kept his distance at first, wanting her to succeed on merit. But their paths crossed often. Hallway smiles, shared coffee breaks, late-night strategy sessions. Rumors began to swirl. Who's the new woman? She's different. Not like the usual corporate crowd. Boss seems to trust her. One evening, while reviewing donations for a local shelter, Lena found a check already signed by Nathan for $20,000. Attached was a note in his handwriting. For those who feed others even when they're hungry themselves. She folded the paper and pressed it to her chest. Maybe, she thought, some miracles wear suits. Summer brought humidity thick enough to taste. Clear water shimmered under the heat, and Cole Industries buzzed with plans for its biggest community event yet, a charity drive for struggling single parents across Florida. Lena coordinated everything from banners to food donations to press invites. Her hands shook when she saw her name on the event program. Lena Morris, Community Outreach Coordinator. Toby helped her practice her speech at home. "Don't say I'm too much," he teased. She laughed. "Thanks, Coach." But beneath her pride lingered nerves and ghosts of the past she couldn't outrun. The event day arrived. The Clearwater Community Center was packed with reporters, business owners, and families who'd received aid. Cameras flashed. Local news anchors smiled. Nathan watched from the crowd as Lena took the stage. "Kindness," she began, "doesn't ask if you can afford it. It just asks if you're willing." Applause rippled through the audience. She spotted Toby near the front, clapping wildly. Her eyes watered. Then, from the back of the room, a familiar voice sliced through the noise. "Well, isn't this rich?" Lena froze. Sharon Wilkes, her former manager, stood near the doorway, arms crossed, smirking. "This woman," Sharon said loudly to a nearby reporter, "used to work for me, got fired for stealing food, and now she's running charity events?" Murmurs spread. Cameras pivoted toward Lena. Her throat closed. The microphone suddenly felt like a weapon aimed at her. Nathan's jaw tightened. He rose, stepping onto the stage. "That's enough," he said evenly. "You're right about one thing. She used to work for you. And she did give away food." Sharon smirked. "So you admit it?" "Yes," Nathan said. "I was the man she fed." The crowd fell silent. He turned to Lena, his voice steady. "While your company's policies punished her, her heart reminded me why I built mine. Kindness isn't theft. It's the only thing that multiplies when it's given away." Applause erupted. Sharon's smirk vanished as reporters turned their cameras toward her instead. Lena stood frozen in disbelief. Tears burned her eyes. After the event, in the quiet of the stage lights cooling, Nathan approached her. "You didn't deserve what happened," he said. "But maybe it happened so you'd end up here." She laughed through her tears. "You talk like you planned it. Maybe I just believe in full circles. You never know when kindness is being tested. Maybe the person you help today will one day stand up for you when it matters most." If this story reminds you that good people still exist in this country, don't just watch and move on. Stand with them, because silence never changed a thing. Later that night, Lena found a note on her desk. Nathan's handwriting again. "You once fed a stranger. Now you've fed hope." She smiled, wiping her eyes. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like she was barely surviving. She was finally living. Morning sunlight poured over Clearwater Bay, glinting off sailboats, drifting lazily beyond the pier. The storm that once shadowed Lena Morris's life had finally passed, leaving calm water and a clearer horizon. It had been 6 months since that night, the night Nathan Cole stepped onto a stage and turned her humiliation into vindication. Now, Coal Industries' new division, Hearts of Florida Foundation, was thriving, led by none other than director Lena Morris. Every morning, she arrived early, coffee in hand, greeting staff with the same warmth she once served pancakes with. But this time, the smile wasn't forced. It was freedom. Her office overlooked Clearwater Beach. On the corner of her desk sat a framed photo of her and Toby, both wearing matching t-shirts that read, "Kindness is contagious." At 10 o'clock sharp, there was a knock on her door. Nathan leaned against the frame, sleeves rolled up. That same understated confidence she'd once mistaken for arrogance. "You running this place or planning to take over mine too?" he teased. She smiled. "Don't tempt me. I finally got air conditioning that works." He laughed, setting a folder on her desk. "These are the new scholarship applicants. I figured you'd want first say." She flipped through the files. Single parents, foster kids, veterans, faces full of hope. Her eyes softened. "Every name here deserves a chance. That's what I love about you," he said quietly. "You see people before you see paperwork." She met his gaze, and for the first time, didn't look away. Later that afternoon, Lena and Toby visited one of the Foundation's outreach programs, a small diner the company had renovated to employ struggling single parents. The smell of sizzling bacon and fresh coffee hit her like nostalgia. She stood at the counter, remembering the girl she used to be, tired, scared, desperate for mercy. Now, she was the one giving it. One of the new waitresses, a young mom named Rachel, thanked her shyly. "I heard your story online. You make me believe things can change." Lena smiled. "They can. Sometimes all it takes is one person who doesn't look away." That evening, Nathan drove her and Toby home. The car wound along the Bay Road, waves glinting under the amber sunset. Toby leaned forward from the back seat. "Mr. Nathan, did you really pretend to be homeless?" Nathan chuckled. "I did. Wanted to see the world from a different angle." "Did you learn anything?" He glanced at Lena. "Yeah, that sometimes the richest lessons come from the people who have the least." Lena rolled her eyes playfully. "Smooth answer, true one," he replied. They stopped at her house, a small yellow bungalow with flower pots and wind chimes Toby had made from seashells. The air smelled like salt and home. Before she got out, Nathan hesitated. "Can I tell you something?" "Sure. When I started that little experiment, I wasn't looking for employees. I was looking for proof." "Proof?" He nodded slowly. "That kindness still existed. I didn't just want to build another business. I wanted to remember why I built anything at all." She looked at him, realizing for the first time the quiet sadness behind his success. "Did you find what you were looking for?" His eyes softened. "I did. The day you handed me pancakes." Weeks later, the Sunset Spoon Diner called her. Not Sharon, but the new district manager. They wanted to feature her story in a company campaign about compassion in the workplace. At first, she hesitated. "I don't want attention," she said. Nathan encouraged her. "It's not attention. It's a mirror. Let them see what decency looks like." The commercial aired on local TV footage of her laughing with Toby, helping families, and the line that became the campaign's slogan, "Kindness doesn't need permission." Within days, the story went viral. National outlets picked it up. Thousands of viewers shared it, writing comments like, "We need more Lenas in this world." And Lena, who once couldn't afford rent, now found herself on talk shows reminding America that doing good shouldn't cost your job. But fame didn't change her. Every Friday, she still volunteered at Gulf Harbor Elementary, serving lunch beside other parents. When Toby's teacher asked her to speak about empathy, she smiled and said, "It starts small. One meal, one choice, one moment where you decide not to look away." After the class, Toby ran to her, arms wide. "Mom, guess what? I told my friends you helped a billionaire." She laughed. "That's not exactly the story, honey." "Well, it's cooler that way," he said proudly. A few days later, Nathan invited her to dinner at the same diner where it all began. The neon sign still buzzed faintly, though the place had been remodeled. Brighter walls, cleaner floors, new management. When the waitress came to take their order, Nathan said with a grin, "We'll have the pancake special. Add bacon." Lena burst out laughing. "You're never going to let me live that down, are you?" "Never," he said. Then, quietly, it changed everything. As they ate, He reached into his briefcase and slid a document across the table. "One last surprise," he said. She blinked at the letterhead. "Cole Foundation, Board of Directors appointment." "Nathan, I don't deserve. You earned it," he interrupted. "And it's not charity. It's partnership." She looked at him for a long time, the diner lights catching the glimmer in her eyes. For the first time since that rainy night in the parking lot, she wasn't shouting to be heard. She was being listened to. Later, as they stepped outside, the Florida sky stretched wide and pink over the horizon. The air smelled like rain just beginning to fall, soft, cleansing, alive. Nathan turned to her. "You know, when I saw you out there that day, yelling at my car, I thought you were angry." "I was," she said. "But maybe anger's just grief looking for justice." He smiled. "Then you found it." She nodded. "No, it found me." The camera of the story pulls back, the two of them walking toward the parking lot, laughter echoing against the soft crash of waves in the distance. The narrator's voice, calm and reflective, closes the story. In a country where greed gets headlines, kindness still writes history. One woman, one act, one plate of pancakes, and suddenly, the world remembered what humanity looks like. Sometimes the richest thing you can give is heart.